Welcome in, guys, to the Full Forest Fathers podcast. It is so good to be back, Dave. Welcome back to the studio. I just always have such a good time when we hit that record button to get an episode going. How you doing today?
I am doing great. This is episode 22. We are cruising along here, and it is nice to be back. I love chatting. I love having these conversations. We always seem to come up with some cool stuff to chat about, so it's great.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And it's a special day today because this very day at 5:25, my firstborn child came into the world. So happy birthday to Madison.
Happy birthday, Madison. That's incredible. 12 years old.
12 years old. I can't believe it. I was a kid, man. I was 24 years old when Madison was born, dude. 24.
That's crazy to me. I can't even really imagine that. I mean, you were, like you said, you were a kid yourself, and to kind of be thrust into that role of fatherhood and figuring it out. I mean, well, you've done a good job figuring it out, but man, that is young. It's young for nowadays, I guess I would say. Back right when our parents had kids, I mean, you know, it was a little bit younger.
Yeah.
And it seems to it's, you know, later in life with careers and things, but 24, that's young, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, think about it. You know, it's actually a good topic to talk about, and it's not our topic of today's show, but while we're on the subject, I mean, first of all, like I said, happy birthday to Madison. She loves horses. She loves farm life. She loves soccer. She loves everything. She's a happy kid. She's my reserved kid. She's the firstborn. So, you know, she made me learn how to be Andine and I, how to become parents, you know, and that is, you know, there's a special, you know, listen, I have a great bond with all of my kids, but there is some sort of bond for the firstborn, you know, that child that made you a father or a mother or just parents, you know, in general. And, but it made me think. I was 24 when I had Madison. My parents were 19 and 20 when my sister was born, who was the firstborn. How old were you?
Wow.
How old were you when Kendall and Bryce were both born?
Kendall was born in 13. So I was 29. I hadn't turned 30 yet. Mm-hmm. So I was 29 just before I turned 30. And then Bryce was 3 years later. So yeah, it's crazy. That's a big gap for us to be having kids, in totally different stages of our lives, really.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and it's interesting to see how people how different it is. 2010 was a different world when Madison was born. You know, we now have lived in 3 states, 5 houses. How many miles? 2 different dogs. How many miles we've traveled across the country here and there and everywhere, and it's just. I mean, happy birthday, Madison. I love you with all of my heart. You know that. So does your mother, and so does your Uncle Dave here when it comes to, you know, so this day's about you, baby.
Madison's an absolute sweetheart, and she was the first of your kids that I really bonded with when we moved out to Arizona. I'll never forget the first weekend we were there. I was going to go look at some houses with our realtor, and Madison wanted to come along. She's like, I got this. Casey wasn't here. She's like, I want to go. I want to check out the houses. I'll take notes. And sure enough, she did. She had her notebook, her pen, her paper. We go in the house and she wrote down everything I liked about the house, didn't like about the house, that we had good notes that we could share with Casey. So she's such a great kid. Happy birthday.
I'm pretty sure the house that you own now is the house that she picked. That wasn't that the one that she liked the most, or the first one you guys went to or something like that? There was a story behind it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was, I mean, a quarter mile from your house. And we're like, this can't even be possible, right? Yeah. It was the last of the houses we viewed that day, and we fell in love with it. And I remember Madison and I were both talking. We're like, it's never going to make it till when Casey gets out here. Like, it's just like, it's going to be gone, you know? Mm-hmm. And sure enough, Casey came out again the following weekends when she came out, and we looked at it and still loved it. And yeah, this is the house we're in now. But Madison helped me find it, helped us find it, really.
How about what you paid for it. Let's not get into technicals, but what you paid for it versus what it's worth now. To think just 4 short years ago what houses were worth or what you paid for them to versus the inflation and everything else, what they're worth now is insane.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably worth about 75% more than it was when I bought it. It's insane. I mean, I mean, we finally made a good real estate investment, because when we bought our house in Connecticut, I mean, where we were in the town we were in, the market was pretty much crap. And we put so much money into that house over the years. We redid the entire house, and then we left. And I mean, we didn't get out nearly what we put into it.
Yeah.
Maybe a tenth. And,
and
here it's like, this is great.
And that's why you get a 15-year mortgage, ladies and gentlemen. So,
yep.
But
that's
with
why
that,
we do it. Makes a big difference.
With that being said, all the kudos to Madison on her birthday today. Let's hop into the show as usual. And I am going to open up with the Bible verse. It comes from Matthew, chapter 7, verse 7. And this one, I'm gonna read it, and then Dave's gonna hop right into it, because Dave's got a lot to speak on about this one today. So, Matthew chapter 7, verse 7. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened to you. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, so this one was one that just came to me recently. I was on a trip to Los Angeles and to a breakthrough experience with a real estate coach. And really, he's more than just a real estate coach. He's sort of a life coach. And it was an incredible experience. And one of the tasks that we had to do after our full day of through the experience and the training is at night we had to listen to an old school recording from Earl Nightingale, who's pretty well renowned as an old broadcaster. His voice was heard all around the world. And this is from The Strangest Secret. And The Strangest Secret goes into, talking about hard work and dreaming and really believing in yourself. And towards the end of it was this verse of ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be open to you. And what he said to do and take with this was, if you really wanted to live your dreams and be at your full potential, was to write this down on a card for 30 days, 1 month. Do this every single day. Write down your dream, one of your dreams on the front of the card. And on the flip side of the card, write Matthew 7:7. And so I did that. And I've got it with me. It's in my pocket. So here it is. All right. There's my dream. House on the beach, San Diego. And on the back is the verse. Now you say, well, why is this important? Well, I got back from the experience and went to church on Sunday, and we get into the readings and the gospel readings, and this is the verse that is read during the church service. And for me, I don't believe in coincidences whatsoever. So the fact that these two things aligned when they did, the fact that I went to this experience when I did, the fact that I came back that particular date and this was the verse, really synced those up for me. And it got me thinking, there certainly is a higher power at work. Mm-hmm. And dreaming is so important to us as people, as fathers, what we can teach our kids about dreaming. It's so, so important. And that's why this verse came into play today, because it had that sort of connection for me to realize that there is a higher power that's in control here.
Right. Yeah, no, I absolutely love it. Matthew is a favorite book of mine in the Bible. Matthew and Luke, Luke, not that I'm biased. I'm biased to the entire Bible. I think everybody should read it. But Matthew and Luke up there are 1, 2. You can put them in whatever order you want to do that. And when I read this verse, and everyone, like I said, there's no right or wrong way to interpret anything in the Bible. It's what you interpret and how it makes you feel, how you absorb it, And this is just the perfect example of God working in His mysterious ways, His great ways, His way, Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find it. And that second part of the verse, like, holy shit. You literally went to church 2 days later after you got home and it was the verse. Like, you were seeking it and you found it. Like, I believe in coincidence. Dave, you don't believe in coincidence, but it's just so true. And when people, and I don't want to go too far into the Bible rabbit hole because, I don't want to turn anybody off, but if you don't like it, oh, well, turn it off. What people don't understand is it is the number one best-selling book of all time. It is literally a blueprint for your life if you just read it and take it at your own pace. And it made me feel so good when you asked me just a week ago or 2 weeks ago when you're like, hey, what do I buy? Where do I start? Because I was that person just a few years ago when I asked our friend Ben, where do I start? And he hand delivered me this Bible and said, start here and then go from there. And then let your mind and your body tell you where to go. I still read it every day. That same exact Bible that was given to me, I still read it every day. And I tell anybody who feels like they may be going through a hard time or whatever, the Bible is literally a blueprint for your life. Follow it, and it truly is amazing.
Yeah. The only Bible I had was the old one from when I was a little kid that I had. And that's why when I got back from this and all this pieced together for me, I was like, I need to start diving into it more because clearly there's something there. And, God's putting that right in front of my face. So, And, one of the things we did during the experience, and I texted you pictures of it, we were to sit down, we were along the beach. I was sitting on a rock out in the ocean, waves crashing around us. And we had to write to God, asking him for things. What do we want in this world? And it all ties in together. You need to ask for things. You need to set your goals extremely high. The dreams that you have are going to be the fuel that get you there. And it got me thinking, right? What do we want in life? What do you want in life? Do you want to be in better physical shape? Do you want to be financially free? Do you want to live in God's word? Do you want to have a career that's more rewarding? Do you want to be a better father, husband, son, brother, friend? What is it that you want to be and what do you want to get out of it?
Yeah. I mean, I can answer that question 100 different ways. I want to be all those things. I want to live in God. I want to be a great dad. I want to be a great son. I want to be the world's greatest father. I want to be financially secure. I want to be in better shape. I do. But I like all of that. It's a lot to unpack, and I think we should probably unpack that a little bit, maybe a little bit at a time, in the sense of what do you want in life is this huge, broad topic, right? And then you've kind of broken it down into some subcategories of that. Everyone can dream huge. And one thing that I pulled from you with this coaching thing you did is you're not ever dreaming big enough, right? Wasn't that something that you pulled? So whatever you think you want your life to be, you got to 10x it or 20x it or 100x it because you're just not dreaming big enough. And I think that it's a good way to answer the initial question of, well, what do you want in life? Well, what do you dream of? What is it? What keeps you up at night? What makes you smile? What do you dream about is probably the best way to answer that question, to start answering that question, right? I don't know. I don't think there's a wrong answer. Is there a right answer or a wrong answer? I don't think there's any answer. It's really how you interpret it yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the most impactful things for me is we had this conversation about, what's more important, the journey or the destination, right? It's an interesting question. And we took about an hour on that question as a group of people. And at the beginning of it, I was, the journey's more important. The journey's important. You got to lay the groundwork to get there. And well, what if you never reach the destination? Was the journey worth it? That was a great question. And what I ended up realizing by the end of the conversation is that my destination, my goals weren't big enough. Mm-hmm. So the journey seemed like it was more important. But setting your goals, your destination at this level that seems unattainable, that's what's going to keep driving you to do these things, to be better, to get up in the morning and go for a run or go to the gym, whatever it may be, or to stop. You want to be financially free, to stop using your credit card, cut them up, throw it out, stop utilizing debt in every way. pushing you to go to church, maybe when you don't feel like going to church, spending extra time with your kids, putting your phone down. These dreams that we have, we've got to set them so high. Everybody says, oh, you got to have realistic dreams. Bullshit. You don't need to have realistic dreams. That's stupid. That's what keeps people held back, right? We need to have dreams that are just out of this world, totally crazy, because that's what's going to keep you motivated.
Yeah, no, I mean, who the hell wants to be average? I mean, I don't want a 30 years, same 9 to 5. I mean, listen, for some people that's totally fine, and I don't knock that. But for those that want more, those who want to live a full force life, like, we're striving to, you and I, to each become the best physically, financially, and spiritually, we can be. And that's what we're doing here at Full Force Fathers. And, and when you dream big, it's hard to, because, like, let's just use a few dreams of mine as an example. All right. Every time I feel like I'm in a rut at work or whatever, I usually go exercise, because I get everything flowing, I get a sweat going, and it makes my brain click back into dream mode, or whatever you want to call it. And let's just say, like you showed that little card, San Diego, 5 years beach house. Okay. Like, I have many, many dreams. A lot of them. We talk about them quite often, but I want to buy the nicest place I can in Tucson in the next 2 years. I want to buy a place in Colorado in the mountains as a summer cabin. After being at the beach last week, I want to have, I'm not a big beach guy. I love the beach, don't get me wrong, but not like you. I'd like to have a condo or something small on the beach. We were in Virginia Beach. That would suffice for me. So I start looking at this map, right? You get this big piece of paper, or some people make it a vision board or whatever they do, and they start writing things down. But I think the biggest, you lose motivation very easily. All right. But I think the big, if you keep the big picture, like you keep that in your pocket, right? That note in your pocket. If you keep that big dream, big vision in your forefront all the time, it'll keep you more motivated. But the thing that ties into dreams is you have to have a plan. You have to put something in motion. You have to write it down. You have to tell somebody about it. Something, if you listen to any coach or guru, they tell you to write your dreams down, right? You have to write it down. Some people say, take whatever dream it is and then just reverse engineer it, right? And just figure out a path. Mm-hmm. But the biggest thing is dream huge, never stop dreaming. Whatever you dream even bigger than that. But try to add to your daily tasks every day of how you're going to work yourself to that end goal, whether it's 5 years or 10 years or 20 years or 5 months down the road,
Yeah, it was an impactful process for me going through it. And when I started, I told him I'm a simple guy, and he questioned me on that. He's like, and he started pushing. He's like, well, what do you want? What do you want? And I'm like, oh, I want a beach house. That's what I want. Right. And I want to have a new car, and I want to be able to get Casey a new car, and I want to be able to pay for the kids' school, and like all these things. He's like, yeah, okay. Everybody wants that shit. But what do you want? Mm-hmm. Like, what's going to make a difference? Right. So that got me really thinking. And like outside of possessions and things like that, I started thinking about like, what do I want in life? What do I want my life to mean? When people, when I die, what is going to be the remembrance of me? And I started really thinking about it. I thought what we were doing here at Full Force Fathers, we started this for a reason, right? I want to impact as many fathers as possible. I want to grow our audience and our platform to a point at which we're impacting thousands and thousands of dads across the country to be the best versions of themselves so that they can be the best dads possible for their kids, and their kids can experience what it's like to have an incredible dad. And then I started thinking, well, what's my other passion, right? And I love personal finance. So I sent this to you, right? I want to put financial literacy, a class, in every single high school in the state of Arizona. And I want to put it in the high school I went to in Connecticut. But then I started even thinking more over the last week. I want to get to the point where I can do that and across the entire country because our country needs it. So those are the types of things I want to I want to leave a legacy. I want to build an empire. I want something that's going to make a difference across the entire country. That's going to make our youth stronger. That's why we're here. That's why we're doing this. That's why we're living a full force life. And it has made it so impactful. And the drive is there. And like you said, people run out of motivation. It's because you don't have big enough dreams. The fuel that you get is by the size of the dream. And if you're dreaming small, you're going to have just a little bit of fuel in there and you're going to run out. But if you've got these dreams that are just next level and you start thinking about what it is I can bring to this world, what it is that I can supply and create, then you're really talking. And now you've got that motivation to drive you through the times that suck. It sucks making phone calls and trying to drum up business. It absolutely blows. But knowing what my dreams are, what my family's dreams are, that's like, okay, pick it up, go and get it going.
Yeah, it's, and that's where I think you break it down. Like I said, I think if you break it down, like you think about it in the sense of your family, not just you. And the other thing is good shit reciprocates. Like, yeah, you want to do all these things financially and have all these nice things and the material things, but you don't want them selfishly. I mean, everybody deep down inside wants things somewhat selfishly, but at the end of the day, you want to be able to do good things with it. Is wanting a beach house selfish? No, it's not. I don't think so. You just want nice things for yourself and for your family, and you work hard to get them. But the important aspect of that is the giving back part, right? You want to get financial literacy into schools all around the country. I personally want to just give back. There's plenty of charities near and dear to my heart that I want to give back. And that's why we've started this Full Force Fathers thing. So eventually we want to grow it to where we can give back to the community. It could be small things like back to school drives. Our kids have been back in school for a week now, or it could be sports, maybe do sports. A big thing for me is sports, getting kids outside and getting them active. So I have this vision down the road eventually to set up a youth. There's tons of youth sports programs, but there's never enough field space. We've experienced that in all places that we live. So I've wanted to do a field, some sort of foundation for fields, right, to make sure there's always, in whatever impoverished neighborhoods there are, that there's not enough basketball courts or soccer fields or baseball fields or whatever the case may be, because there's nothing more passionate than I am than getting kids outside and playing sports and being active. So I do feel that those dreams are way more attainable when you have such a good heart behind them. It's not just a selfish gain. You want to do these things so you can give back to the community in which you either grew up in, or in your case, your passion, which is personal finance. Yeah, dude, pull the CRT crap out of the schools and put some financial literacy in there. Kids don't know how to balance a checkbook. Kids don't even know what a freaking check is. Are you kidding me? That could be a podcast topic for an entire another day. Kids don't even know what a check is. They don't know. They do everything with their cell phones, It's
true. Yeah. And, I started to think about, what is it that holds people back from going after their dreams or setting big dreams? And I think emotion is a big thing that comes into it. It's our feelings, right? It's the way we, it's the fears that we have, the doubts that we have, the frustrations that come with what it takes to achieve those dreams. And a lot of times it's feelings that stop you from achieving those things. And that's something that we've got to correct. And something that for me, going through this process now, I want to teach my kids. I want to teach my kids to dream huge, right? When you're a kid, somebody asks you what you want to do, right? How many kids say, I want to be an NBA player, or I want to be a football player. I want to be the president. At that point in their life, they have these incredible dreams, and somewhere along the line, we start pulling them back, and we say, well, you're not good enough to do that, or you just don't have the skills for that. It's that's too big of a goal, and we start. As a society, we start reining our kids in, and we start teaching them that it's not okay to think like that. Why is that? Why is it not okay to think like that? Why can't my daughter say that she wants to be the president of the United States, and me encourage her to do that? Why is it, Bryce, I want to be a basketball player. Why? There's zero reason he can't be a basketball player, right? And I think we do it too often. We try and bring our kids into, what is a perceived reality, when in fact, we're really just hurting them and hurting this process for them.
Yeah. And to bring it back just about a minute ago, what you said, about emotions and things, fear, you mentioned the word fear, and fear is, I would attribute it to mostly all failures is due to fear, because like it or not, people are, especially in today's culture, people are afraid to speak what they truly say because they're fearful of the backlash they may get on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or whatever bullshit is the flavor of the month for social media. These freaking booger eaters that sit in their parents' basements and say shit on Twitter, like, you know, but people are programmed from a young age. Kids are programmed with fear, like they're fearful to do anything because of what someone will think of them, right? The hell with that shit. You got to teach your kids now, like you said, dude. You have 100. If you have the support of your parents and the support of those closest to you, just freaking go after it. You know what I mean? Dream ginormous, and get some help along the way. Not financial help for your dreams. Get somebody in your ear a bit. You know, like this is something that Dave and I have both. You know, we're newer to this. We've always kind of been our own little coaches in the sense where we bounce the ideas off each other. But I think anybody who's looking to strive to be the best at whatever they want to be, when you can go back down through that list that you just mentioned, physically, all right, get a personal trainer, spiritually, talk to a preacher or something like that, financially, get a business coach, professionally, you know, get a whatever it is. I've grown to realize this essentially over the last year or so. Having an accountability partner or a coach is so monumental. And then when you went away to do this, you know, 3-day retreat or whatever it is that you call it, it just proves that if you have someone in your ear and you surround yourself with a tribe of those like-minded individuals, you don't give a shit about the fear anymore. Because who cares? Like you said, you told me that story about that person the other day that hung up on you when you called them. Well, good. You know, fuck off. No one even cares. You know, it doesn't matter. And in the other thing I run into when I talk to people about coaching, people talk about the cost of coaching, right? So Dave and Brett here on Full Force Followers, take what you want. This is free, man. If you got a phone, you got free life advice, whether you think it's good or bad. This is a type of accountability that you can get on a podcast platform. You know, when everyone's like, well, I can't afford it. You know, and I listen to guys like we listen to Andy Frisella a lot. You know, he's got his own little coaching group, or Sean Whalen from Lions Not Sheep. And they all bring it up. Everyone talks about, I can't afford it. I can't afford it. I can't afford it. And even to me, I've thought about that sometimes. I can't afford whatever it is, $197.50 a month or $200 or whoever the hell the coach you is that you want to hire. And then you made it all make sense. And especially in my business or your business, and where we're commission based, we get paid when we make sales, right? You said to me the other day, you're like, dude, what is $200 a month? Now, granted, that's a lot of money for some people. But if you were to make one sale off it, it pays for itself. And I love the phrase that you used. And I want you to kind of dive into it a little bit from a financial standpoint, because I want to look at financial coaching and I want to just pick your brain a little bit from the cost side of it. Because like I said, I do think everyone should have a coach, whether it's personal training, for finance, for fitness, whatever. You use the line, $200 a month, Brett, is just a drop in the bucket. If you use the coaching the way you're supposed to, and you take off, or you methodically move up, you know. So kind of dive into that comment that you said to me, and like for someone who maybe doesn't understand what it means, like, you know, from a financial standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, I use 200 as a number, right? It could be anything, like you said, depending on who you're working with or what you're doing. It could be $50, it could be $100, $200, it could be $10,000, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
If you know, I mean, if you go into it with a mindset that I'm going to take what this person says and I'm going to apply it, and do your research, you find out if it's the right thing, it really is a drop in the bucket, right? What's $200? We were talking about your, you know, coaching for, you know, your loan business, and $200. What is $200 a month if you're to bring in just one loan? One loan more than pays for 2 years of your coaching, right?
Yep.
For the average loan, pays for 2 years of your coaching.
Yeah.
Okay. What are the chances you're going to get at least one loan out of the coaching? I mean, chances are pretty high.
But it's
right?
it's almost a guarantee. It's almost a guarantee.
High. Right. Chances are you're probably going to get a lot more than that out of it. So when you look back, if this coaching puts you in a position where you got one deal every 2 months, you get six deals out of the coaching. It's making you exponentially better. And then you're using that for referrals and building on it and building on it and building on it. You know, years from now, you look back and you're like, that was the best $200 a month I've ever spent. It's really nothing. It's the same thing with me on the real estate side, right? If I'm going to spend money on a coach, if I apply what, what I'm learning, and I see the track record and I see it happening, I've seen it happen with other people, then what's the problem? There's really it's a no lose situation. And yeah, in the beginning it can be tough. You've got to budget it. It's a line item in the budget, right? It's there and it's always going to be there. But when you look and you put in the work, what it's going to return to you over years and years is going to be exponential. And it doesn't just have to be a business coach. You can go find, a physical trainer, and what that's going to do for you, having that accountability partner, it's the, power of association, right? It's who we hang out with is who we become. They say that of 5 people, if you hang around with 5 people, you're going to be the average of those 5 people. Right. So you want to associate yourself with people that have the things that you want to acquire. Maybe that's physical health. If you want to be super healthy, don't hang around with people that just eat potato chips, drink beer, and slug down snacks all day long. If you want to be financially successful, don't be spending your time hanging out with people that are just overspending on credit cards and have mountains of debt and car payments and all these different things. Hang around with people who do the things that you want to do. Hang around with people that are financially successful. Hang around with people that are healthy. Hang around with people that are successful in business, people that are great dads. That's why we're doing this. Come hang out, join the podcast, listen to the show. We will be your, power of association without necessarily being right with us, because you tune in here, what you're going to get. So that's what it's about. So really, if you put the time and the effort in, it really is a drop in the bucket. I know it was a long way to say that, but
and I think the financial part of it too, another way to people look at it is like, well, you pay 200, how many people pay $500, $600, $700 a month to drive a freaking vehicle or whatever? Do people have freaking payments on their damn cell phones? Like, people literally finance their freaking iPhone, right? What if I said both of those things depreciate and they're going to be worthless in 10 years or 15 years from now versus what you paid for them? But you can invest, we've used the example, $200. You can invest $200 to that's going to appreciate your value, right? That's going to increase your net worth or your income or whatever you want it, your everything. If you spend it on a personal trainer, that's going to increase your self-worth and your physical appearance and your mental health, your physical health. So, this coaching thing, like I said, we've really talked about it a lot lately, and we're both experiencing it new as of today, you know what I mean? Where we both have hired new coaches in your industry and me in my industry. And it's, already paying dividends in the sense that, hey, that gives us even more stuff to talk about on the podcast where, we're just giving you another avenue that, hey, maybe that's what you were missing, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because you just get, and you get other ideas, and it just, whatever the coach is, they're digging in to find the best version of you, and you can just keep building on that. Like you said, it's, the return that you're going to get on that is going to be whatever X you put into it. Getting better in different areas, I don't think you can necessarily put a price tag on it.
And I truly think the accountability might be the biggest thing for me. Like, I'm 36 years old and I get homework now from my coach. It's like, yeah, dude, that's accountability. Mm-hmm. It's things that you don't even realize you're slacking off and not doing it anymore because you just become it's become so mundane what you're doing because you've been doing it for a long time. Having a different voice, a different opinion, accountability is what really makes everybody better at everything. If you have no accountability, then whatever, it is what it is. You'll get to it when you get to it. But if there's some accountability there, dude, you're gonna get to it because A, it's costing you money, which you don't want. I don't know anybody that likes to take $200 and throw it out the window. You know what I mean?
No, because $200 is still $200 at the end of the day. I mean, shit, that's a half a tank of gas now, isn't it?
Yeah, in my truck. Yeah, that doesn't even fill up my truck, for freaking Pete's sake. You kidding me? Actually, wait, listen, we can thank our president. Kudos to the president for dropping gas prices. He doesn't control them, but he brought them down. Good for him.
Yeah. He had no impact in them going up, but he is the sole savior of them coming down. So,
yeah, of course. Of course. So, that's kind of the main topic today. We kind of went a little bit all over the place with that, but, we really wanted to touch on that experience that you had. of this new coaching, and we kind of turned it into a coaching type of talk, but we also talked about dreaming big. And that's something I'd like to just maybe throw it. It's not a challenge, I guess, to all of our listeners, however many out there that you listen to the show, do us a favor, get a hold of us, reach out to us through social media or whatever, however you want to. And I just want to know some of your dreams. I just want to know, I want, whether you reach out to us or not, take a piece of paper and write down all your wildest dreams, all of them. Physically, financially, spiritually, parenting, just write them down. Put them in a piece of paper, stick it in your pocket. I do, and walking around with it for 30 days. So every time you put your hand in your pocket, unless you don't change your clothes, you're going to see it. And you're going to, it's going to give you a little bit of spark each and every single day.
Yeah, and read it. Read through them every single day. Ask and you shall receive. So you need to ask.
Yep.
You just need to ask every single day. You need to visualize it. You need to see it. You need to believe it. You need to almost act as if you already have it. That's how much you need to get into it.
The other part of that retreat that you did, you mentioned, and I don't want to go too long onto this topic, but I want to let you have the floor for a minute about it, or 2 minutes, or 30 seconds, whatever. How long are you going to talk about it? You mentioned to me that journaling was a big part of this, and I think journaling is good. I write a lot of stuff down every single day. I don't journal per se in the sense where I write down the date and I write down a bunch of thoughts on paper, and I probably feel like I should a little bit. We have friends that journal, but journaling was a big part of this retreat that you did. Now, just kind of give us an overflow of journaling in a sense. What's an easy way to start doing it, or what's the objective when you do journal?
Yeah, so the journaling in this wasn't it's not like a diary, right? You don't just recap what you did for the day, which is what I always envisioned journaling to be. But it's really, it's a lot more than that. It's writing down the things that are important to you, the things that you want in life, the things that you're grateful for. I've got it right here. This is the journal, one of the journals I got through it. And basically what it is inside, you've got every day I write down 5 things that I'm grateful for, 5 goals that I have. They could be current, long-term, short-term, whatever it may be. And then things that I'm going to get done during the day. And then it's got a spot for things that I did get done. So every time I do something really productive in my day for business or whatever it may be, I write that down. I go to the journal and I write it down. And I've got 2 pages for each day, and you write the day on it, right? The day that I'm on, and it keeps me focused, and it keeps you in touch with what you're grateful for. What are you grateful for? I'm grateful for health. I'm grateful for the place that I get to live. I'm grateful that the sun rises every day, big, small, whatever it may be, things that you're grateful for. And then the goals, like I said, it could be short-term, long-term. I've got my goal for the beach house. I've got a goal for financial literacy. I've got a goal to spend time, spend uninterrupted time with my kids every day. Like, that's a priority for me. So that goes on the goal list. All those types of things go into the journaling, and it's totally different than I thought it was going to be. And I really enjoyed it, and I've continued to do it and will do it because it makes a big impact. It really keeps you in touch with the things that are important to you.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I mean, after we talked about it, I was like, I got to start doing that. Add it to maybe like my morning routine or whatnot, just a little bit here and there. But I think it can be a very key. There's a lot of benefits to it when you write things down, and you don't forget. You just forget less. Someone that has a great memory still forgets things that if they're not written down and they're not in front of them. So,
yep, for sure.
But let's wrap up the show today with our book recommendation. And the book today is, I just finished it. You've already watched the movie and stuff, so I want to Lone Survivor. I don't know. It's kind of, there you go, Lone Survivor. And anyone,
yep, there it is.
I've been on a military kick lately with some of my book selection. In this book, I don't even have words to describe this book. The emotions. First of all, I'm a Navy SEAL, never could be one, but I'm a nut in the sense that I love researching those guys because they literally are like the most badass humans on earth. That's what they are. They're the toughest mentally and physically, and the shit they go through. But this book, man, and I don't know, I haven't watched the movie, and I'm going to now watch the movie after I've read the book. Like, I had chills. Like, I had goosebumps reading this book because how vivid it was. And one thing that probably the main point that I pulled from this book is, dude, it is such, we're great friends, or you have family. Like, those guys in the SEAL teams, man, that is a freaking brotherhood. Like, that, like, Full Force Fathers, if we could be half as close eventually in the end with Full Force Fathers, that would be a massive success. But the bond, like, these dudes are brothers, and it's so amazing. But the tear, there was times where I could find myself welling up reading it. There's times I was on the edge of my seat, and I'm 40 days into the 75 hard, and usually you got to get 10 pages a day in. And this book, I'll tell you, I couldn't put it down. Like, when it got to the action part of Operation Red Wings, I couldn't put it down. I literally was reading 50 pages at a clip. I think I read the last 150 pages of that book. I read in 2 days because I could not put it down. And the shit that guy went through and how much he remembered it. I mean, yeah. There's no way there's no way the movie is going to be as good as the book. There's zero chance because the book is so good. I'm going to give it a shot. But like, that's a firsthand account from the actual dude. And I know Hollywood makes things look the way it is, but that book is unfreaking believable.
I think you're passionate about it. I think you want people to read the book.
Yeah. And so there was another thing I want to talk about with books today. And, Dave and I, we give you a book recommendation all the time. And as you can see in my camera behind me, I got a stack of books there. I got a bookcase over here that's full of books. But money's tight for a lot of people right now, and books are expensive. This is a tip. This is a financial tip for you, too. Go to your library and get a freaking library card, and you can get all the books that you want, and you don't have to pay for them. Usually most libraries are 2 weeks. You get 2 weeks to read a book, and then you can renew it as long as there's not a wait list for it. You will save money and get smarter. And pretty much every book we've recommended, I'm sure you can find in a library. And if your library doesn't have it, a sister library probably has it. Lone Survivor, I don't own. I got that at the library. And I think that because the amount of books, we're 22 shows in. I mean, you're already at $1,000 worth of books, for Pete's sake. You know what I mean? So, like, don't. If you can save yourself a few bucks, like, if you can get the book, great. There's a couple books I think you should always, you need to have. You need to have a Bible. You need to have Endure by Cam Hanes. Like, those books you need to physically own. But other books, go to the library because you can probably get them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I never thought about it. You told me about this pre-show, and I was like, yeah, it's really a good idea. I mean, my kids have library cards. Casey takes the kids all summer long to the library to get new books every week. And I don't think to do it, and I don't know why. So when I finish a book, I always go to Amazon. I'm like, all right, what's the next book that I'm going to read? And I get it. And it is expensive. It's really expensive. So I'm going to start doing it myself because I could take my, couple books a month out of my budget and just go to the library because it's free. Free 99. It's my favorite kind.
Especially if you have a good library. Like, I know the Oro Valley Library. You have that, and if OV doesn't have it, that channel of Pima County libraries, you can get a book from another one. They'll ship it up to that one so you can get it. And most towns do that. If you have a town or a county big enough that has multiple libraries, you can get a bunch of different books. If they're not there right that day, you can get them reserved and they'll get them to you.
Yeah, look at you giving the financial tips.
Listen,
man, we are coming full circle around this, baby. I'm telling you.
I do what I can. I don't give very many financial tips, but sometimes they make sense,
That's a good one.
Yeah, but anyways, guys, episode 22 is a wrap. Dave, take us home.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in again. We appreciate so much your love and support. Please check us out on social media. Keep following the show. Like, share, give us your feedback. We love it. As we said today, go out, figure out what your dreams are. Dream big. Teach your kids to dream big. Don't hold them back. Keep them moving forward. And we're going to talk to you soon.